Johannes, obviously a very difficult afternoon. What's your sort of reaction as we sit here now, half an hour after the game?
I think after the game, reaction pretty direct and honest, and it's just for us to find out who has the desire and who has the motivation to play the last 3 games for us. I think that was a big thing for us when watching the game out there. So that's probably it. I think we were all over the place, to be honest, to begin with, and I think the simple things in the game we found it hard to deal with, and then you end up in problems no matter who you play against.
How embarrassed are you that a team that you're in charge of performs like that in front of its own supporters?
Yeah, but now it's the second or third time today I get the question about embarrassment, and that's not really, that's not really the case. I'm annoyed with the performance that we are so easy again to score against, and take is it the 5th goal, I think, that comes from a deep free kick from close to the halfway line. It's situations like that we again find very, very difficult to deal with. The penalty we concede just before halftime, where we have 2-3 situations just to get the ball out of the box and get the ball forward, and again we find ourselves in a situation where we stick out the leg in the penalty box and commit a penalty where it should never be the case. And it's those moments in the game, and I don't think embarrassment is the right word. We are, all of us, sorry for the performance today. None of us hope for a performance like that and a result especially like that. But I think it's more the situations in the game that annoys me, because I have to find out, and we have to find out, why it is so difficult for us to deal with situations like that.
On the face of it, this season started brightly. There was lots of encouragement. And I remember you saying there's still lots of improvement to be found. However, it looks like from the second half of the season as if you've gone the other way. Performances against Derby, Preston, Oxford, Sheffield Wednesday, now Portsmouth, all these teams who are below Norwich. And Norwich is struggling to pick up points at home, but previously they've always been so strong. What's gone wrong?
Yeah,
why do you feel it's collapsed?
Yeah, there was a lot of things in that question from you. I don't think we struggle to pick up points at home. I think we're still 7-8 in the league in terms of our home performances. Do we have higher expectations to that? Yeah, probably we still have that, but I think that's probably also around what you can expect. I think it's more the away games, and I think what you mentioned, which is right, it is probably the teams that come with a little bit more. What can you say? A little bit more simple or direct approach that we have struggled to compete against, and we have struggled to get results against. I would still say there's many of the games that you mentioned here where it's been such a thin line for us not to get a result. You mentioned Derby at home, where they have absolutely no chances in the whole game before we concede a penalty at the end. So that's one of them. But still, you don't hear me excuse that, because it's still something we have to get right. Because you have to win games 1-0 once in a while, and you have to make sure that, especially at home, even though you're not doing everything perfect, you still have to pick up 3 points more often than what we have done, especially against the teams that are below us. But I would say, if you need a simple answer to your question, then I think it's the most simple or direct approach where we struggle to find a way out of that.
What can you say to reassure those Norwich fans that are concerned about the future? What can you say to them that will restore their faith in the situation and yourself as manager?
Yeah, but to be honest, I don't think it's too much about talking. I don't think it's too much about me sitting here and saying what they should look at or what they should believe in. I think it's down to us and to be able to, here in the last 3 games of the season, to show it even more, and to show even more of what we have done well, especially some parts of the first 6 months of the season that you mentioned. I think that's down to us. We are in a tricky situation because we have some players that they know they are probably leaving and running out of contract, and we have some young players about to take the steps into the first team. So we are in a tricky position, but it doesn't make any excuses for performances. And I think what I have to do within the next couple of days is probably to look more or less all the players in the eyes and say, okay, who's really ready for the next 3 games here? Who have some personal also motivation to go out there and perform on the highest possible level, because we need more competitive. We need more desire. And I hate to say it, but I think there was more desire in the Portsmouth team today.
Did that look like a team, your team, that didn't have enough heart for it, enough desire for it, didn't want it enough?
Yeah, and you know, that's the reason why I hate it, because it's such an easy conclusion sometimes just to say, okay, they didn't want it enough. But I think where I can feel that, or where I can see that it's probably, some of it can be true, is I think that they were on top in all the situations where they have to win first contacts, duels, headers. They were on top where they had to anticipate where the ball will drop, and they could win second balls and third balls. And that's down to sometimes desire. It can also be something else, but that can be a part of it. And that's definitely something we have to look at, because now I mentioned the fifth and the third goal, I think, but there's many of the chances also in the game today that is affected by especially those situations that we really, really struggle with.
Well, you've talked there about your first answer, that you need to discover who's got the desire and motivation. You know, that's quite a damning indictment of that group of players, if you're questioning that.
I think, and you know, I also spoke to some of from the captain group out there today, and I think it also comes from some of them that what he felt in there was that there was somewhere they didn't deliver or bring that to the game that is needed in a championship game, because there is no easy games, and you can just look at all the results more or less in the league, and there's people from the relegation zone taking points from or teams from the relegation zone taking points from mid-table teams or even higher up the table. So you have to bring that every single time you play, and if you just drop 10-15% of that, then there's going to be no chance. Whether it is down to that, I don't know. I have to find out. And I have to look at the situations again, and I have to look at why is it we struggle so much with every single cross they deliver into the box. Why is it we cannot deal with that? And that's also why I said, and why I commented on you before, is that desire, is that motivation? I don't know. It can also be wrong positioning. It can also be bad preparation or bad anticipation. I don't know. But we simply have to find out and bring the players that probably is doing better in that on the pitch for Monday. Because it can be some of the same.
But also, and you're right to point out, do you think an element there in play is that there will be players, and it's human nature, they're not going to be here. They're either not going to be here through the club's decision, or maybe they don't think they're going to be here through their own potential career choices. That all adds to uncertainty, doesn't it? Yeah,
it can. And again, to be honest, every player deals with a situation like that differently. And some do it one way, some do it another way. And I'll just say, like I said a couple of times now, we have to find out. So the team that we bring on pitch for Monday, it can probably be with a handful of changes, because we have to find out who has that extra personal, individual motivation to do what it takes to go to Millwall and try to take 3 points, even though it will not really affect our outcome this season. Yeah, it can affect the position in the league, but it really doesn't change too much whether we are 12th or 13th. But that you have to put aside and find some other motivation to be able to play that game. And I can also understand, which is fair enough, if someone says, I think my time here is running out. I'm not extending my contract, or I want to seek something else, or whatever. And okay, fair play. Then we have to find some other players.
I mean, you know, so much of this at the end of the season was about the mood and the optimism and bringing the fan base with you on a journey and keeping them invested in it. But that's 2 wins in 13 now. That's nowhere near good enough to achieve that objective, is it?
No, nowhere near.
So ultimately, can you understand that frustration that is there now, and it's growing now amongst the fan base, that they're quite clearly, I think the majority of them were quite happy to row in behind you and what you're trying to do, and Ben and this group of players, and it was going to be ups and downs on this season, but it does feel it's almost going on a regressive trend.
I think it's fair to say that we have not been at the same level. I still think when you say, I don't know how many games you mentioned, but I think still will say that there's probably 3-4 of those games where it's been very, very tight, and it could have been a win with just one single decision at the end of a game. So, but it's more like, what can you say? It's more like some of the performances. I know we've struggled with many, and for many different reasons this season, with things. But it's more like some of the games, the approach from us, the mindset today. I think just like today in first half, it seems like we struggled to give every single pass on the pitch. There was no purpose in the passes. They were not hard enough when they were supposed to be hard enough. They were not playing in between them enough. They were not playing in behind them enough. And I think that seemed a little bit like it was locked or not on the same fluent level as we have seen before. And whether that's down to some of the things that we discussed before, I don't know. But I can easily understand why there's frustration about a result like today here at home. It's more than fair.
And part of that also maybe, and you've talked about this, about you've got a lot of young players and it will take time and they need that support as well. But with young players, you get inconsistency and the confidence is quite fragile, isn't it, as they're learning, and maybe that's flowing into this end of the season, which has felt it's gone the wrong way.
Yeah, both yes and no, because I think some of the best players they take learning out of adversity. They take learning out of difficult moments, and use that learning as an experience to deal with it when next time it happens, to avoid it, or at least make sure that it's not a bad period or a bad moment of the season that is too long, but it's probably down to a half of a game or one game, and then they can change it. So I think the learning that we are getting at the moment, and I'm saying we because it's all of us, I think it's probably not. Of course, we would prefer to win games, so you don't hear me say that. But it's not like we cannot absolutely not use everything from the moments out here, and especially also the young players. Of course they can. What we have to make sure is that we still, because everyone spoke about probably a transitional season, and a season where there could be ups and downs, and a season where it was a little bit difficult to expect where we will be in the table when we're about to end the season. I've said a couple of times, Paddy, also to you, I think also you found it a little bit hard in the beginning of the season to really predict where we'll be end, because there was so many changes. And it's been a season where, it's clear that it was difficult to predict. So what we have to make sure is that we take that learning and use it, and make sure that we can use it as valuable experience so we can perform much better when we start again.
And for you personally as well, not just today, but this period maybe since the Watford away win early February, I mean, it doesn't alter or shake your belief that you believe this, what you're trying to do, this strategy is on the right path, and that in time it will come together? Yeah,
because I think there's so many interesting things. You're asking me the question here now, Paddy. So I just have to clear out that there's absolutely no. What can you say? We're absolutely not satisfied with the performance today and the result today. So that's not what you hear me say here. But when you're asking about positives, there is still positives. We have the top goal scorer of the league. I think Sarge, with that goal today, he's probably second on that list. So we have one or two on that list. We have scored second most goals of the teams in the league so far this season. We have played, I think, in some games, some very, very good football, and also some football where people hopefully can see that if we just get this right and if we can continue on this path, then there's definitely something exciting in the future for us. Then there's also all the other things, that we've conceded too many, that we have been too inconsistent, that our away form has not been good enough. So there's also this pool of topics over here that we of course have to improve and make better. But I hope the things over here can still make people see, okay, there's definitely some positives, even though it's been a tough season, even though it's been a season with many ups and downs, and lately here more downs than ups. So I think it's our task and it's our duty to take those positives, but also especially to take the knowledge we now have from the things over here and improve it and make it better. And that's a thing for us in the summer transfer market. It's a thing for us in training. It's a thing for us with every decision that we possibly take now. That we have to get it right, because that's been our ambition from day one.
You mentioned him there, Sargent. Was that half-time exit? Was that related to the sort of knock he got?
Yeah.
Just clarify what he did.
Something happened with his shoulder. We don't know yet, but it was too much for him to continue.
And Nunes went as well. Was that maybe more tactical, or?
That was down to performance. I think that's we needed more stability and we needed to be more solid out of possession than we were. I think we opened up too much space in situations where we have to probably defend more compact as a team and as a unit. So that was down to a tactical decision, and we had to change.
Just final one on this game, Johannes. No Gunny today. What can you tell us?
He's expecting a baby, him and his wife. So I don't have any news because I focused on the game out here today. So I don't know what the situation or status is. But that was the reason why he was not in. Yeah.
I guess. Go on, mate.
Will he be available for Monday, or is he likely to be family time?
Yeah, it's such a difficult question, because it a little bit depends on when the baby is there. So we take it a little bit, day for day and see. And of course, we have people communicating with Angus, so we hope to have him back. And I think also knowing him, he wants to be back. But of course, there's something at home that is a little bit more important than a Monday game.